Good afternoon, and welcome to Pinhole Quilting. I know that people might take a little bit of time to realise that we're actually here, because Pete and I have been away. We've been away, haven't we, Pete?
We have.
I'm not normally this brown. Pete, being half Italian, actually enjoys the sun to its full extent, it's fair to say. I, on the other hand, have been wearing factor 50 and still got a tan. So, yeah, we had a lovely time. I was away for my birthday, met up with some old friends, and yeah, it was all good. It's all good. It makes up for, we work a lot of weekends, so it made up for quite a lot of long hours through the rest of the year. So I hope that everybody else has been enjoying this. We brought the sunshine back with us. I should just say that is actually completely our responsibility for the fact that we've had wall-to-wall sunshine since we came back earlier this week. And it's been beautiful, which is just as well, isn't it, Pete? Because we would have not coped with 7 degrees.
No, it would have been quite a shock going from 30 degrees down to freezing.
Absolutely. So we're very grateful that I think today is the hottest day of the year. It's going to be, is it in the 20s out there? I haven't been outside.
Yeah, for our US listeners, it's about 68 degrees perhaps.
68 degrees. Here today?
Yeah, if it reaches 20 degrees Celsius, that's 68 Fahrenheit.
Right, but it was in the 90s where we were, wasn't it? Was it hot? It was quite hot.
Yeah, nearly 100.
Nearly 100. Very, very hot. So we didn't go out in the middle of the day as much as possible. Anyway, we are back, and we are back with a vengeance, I'm going to say, because we've been doing demos. Pete's got a full week next week full of stuff. So today I'm not quite as prepared, confession time, as I might have been. But we had a lovely visitor. Actually, we had 3 visitors. There was a hound, a Scottish hunting hound, I think it was. Huge. About here. Honestly, enormous, absolutely enormous dog, like a person. But what's she called? The Duchess. The Duchess was not coming for the long arm demonstration, no. But it was lovely to see her owners. And so I've been doing demonstrations all morning, which has been lovely. We've gone around all the machines, done everything that we needed to do. And one of the things that I thought it would be worthwhile sharing with you today is some of the things that we want to talk about how much room do you need for a long arm. That particular person had plenty of room, but not everybody does. So after we've covered Schmetz needles, and I've talked a little bit about that, we're going to go on to this little foot frame that has got a Moxie XL on with computerized system. And it's a system that I think some of you might be interested in, and some of you may already have. I know we've got a few Moxie customers with Pro Stitcher Lite on a little foot frame that, doesn't take up as much space as a full-size frame, but there are a few real advantages where spaces are at a premium. So in that respect, I'll be coming back to it in a little bit. But first of all, Pete, have you got anything you want to say, or?
Well, let's say hello to a few people. First online today are Helen and Jeff.
Helen and Jeff. Hello, Helen and Jeff. Great to have you here on Facebook. Good to see you again. It's been a while. Helen was down here for the last classes, and I know unfortunately you won't be able to make the next one. We've got our foundation and our quilting and thread play class coming up in 2 weeks' time. A week on Tuesday. So if anybody's interested in doing feathers and thread play, you'd be very welcome to join us. You can sign up online, and I'll put a link on Facebook after this.
So there's Julia and Briar, her dog, in Northumberland.
Oh, yes.
She's just taking the dust sheets off Amy. I didn't know that your machine was called Amy. Julia.
Amy.
Intending to get work done on my whole cloth quilt.
Oh, fantastic.
Good.
Golden Retrievers, beautiful. I didn't see Golden Retriever yet, but we used to have one. Beautiful dogs. Okay.
Also, Jill Bailey from Leyland.
Oh, yes, Jill.
Jill is a very keen cyclist. She'll be much more familiar with doing the sort of distances that we'll be doing tomorrow, won't she?
Yes, so tomorrow we've got a 100-kilometre ride. Well, the ride is on. Whether we actually complete 100 kilometres or not, I'm not so sure. Because I fell off the bike this morning testing it out. Honestly, I am an idiot. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I didn't unclip both sides. It's my fault. I turned around, didn't unclip both sides, fell on the side I hadn't unclipped. There's nothing more to be said. Ow, that did actually hurt. I fell on my elbow. Anyway, I bounce. So we're doing that tomorrow. Tour de Bristol, as part of our training for our Bristol to Paris cycle ride in aid of St. Peter's Hospice in Bristol. Yeah, we're looking forward to that because the sun is going to be shining, but it's going to be really windy, isn't it, Pete?
Yes, gusts of up to 30 miles an hour, which isn't nice when you're cycling. It's not
channeling down the Bristol Channel.
But I think the key is to sort of get in behind the other cyclists as much as possible.
I'll be getting in behind Pete. I don't know about anybody else. Right.
Glenys in Kent.
Hello, Glenys. But Glenys is also another cyclist.
Yes,
she and her husband.
Yes.
They're also cyclists.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And
hello, Glenys.
Mary McPhillips from a sunny and cold Scotland.
Oh, no, this is exciting, isn't it?
Yes, Mary's just upgrading to a new Amara.
Absolutely.
I haven't forgotten you, Mary, but I'm trying to find a space in the diary when I can come and do that installation for you.
Are we doing it together? We might be, mightn't we?
We might be.
I hope so, because it's a delight to see Mary. Love Mary.
Hello to, who's next? Linda in Sheffield.
Hello, Linda.
Carol in County Durham.
Yeah, Linda, our handy quilter ambassador, who's going to be at Festival of Quilts, and we've got clinics, workshops and clinics. We're sold out on most of the the early sessions, which are for our existing handy quilter owners, and our clinics are for our existing handy quilter owners. But the middle sessions, which are introduction to long arm quilting, we've got some space on those and on the clinics as well. And you can sign up and have a one-to-one with Linda Jackson and ask her anything you like. Don't ask her about the gross national product of Nigeria. She doesn't know that one. Okay.
What else we got? We've got Jackie Poulter.
Jackie. No, Jackie went to a studio frame. She used to have a little foot, didn't she? Yeah. And has got computerized as well.
And Glenys says, 100k, wow, well done you. Don't congratulate us yet, Glenys.
No,
we haven't actually done it.
Far too early.
It's just a plan at this point.
It's just a plan. I went down the road and fell off. Goodness knows what's going to happen over 100 kilometres.
And Wendy Gardner in Bristol. So Wendy, the bike ride goes from the University of the West of England campus and it goes sort of northeast from there. So steer clear, there's going to be over 1,000 cyclists, I believe, tomorrow. Yeah. So it might be a bit busy on the roads. 998
and 2 little ones. I've got to get my bike working yet. It's not quite working at the moment.
And Mary says, "Oh, I'd love to see the both of you. So excited."
Yeah.
And Jennifer East, hello from Wrexham.
Hi, Jen. So Jen's on our feathers and thread play, I believe. Yep. So yes, Jen, looking forward to seeing you in week on Wednesday. Fantastic. All right. So anything else before we proceed?
I don't think I've missed anybody there.
No. So as part of our we've got domestic sewing machines now. We're going to be taking those to the Malvern Quilt Show. So if you're coming to Malvern mid-May, so 14th to the 18th is normally the sort of time. I can't remember the exact dates, but is that right? Pete's going to check because I can't remember off the top of my head. But Malvern, it will be 1995, my 30th year at the Malvern Quilt Show. Can you believe that? Wow. I know I don't look old enough.
15th to the 18th of May.
It wasn't too far off. 15th to the 18th. Oh yeah, that would be 5 days. 15th to the 18th of May. We've got Juki machines as well. Nathan from Juki will be coming to help demonstrate with Katie on the domestic machines. That includes overlockers from Juki. Fantastic machines. We love the straight stitch machine, the TL Thingy Bob 2200 QVP, which is a fantastic machine. And we've got all the other ones in the range. We've got a big range of the Juki because Nathan will bring some more up that we don't have here to demonstrate. So it's a great opportunity to do that. So as part of that, we're expanding into the Schmetz needles. Love Schmetz needles. And we're just going to go through a few things about the Schmetz that we're doing, but also It's really, and we'll have them at the show. We'll have them at the Malvern Quilt Show. It's also to promote some education that we've got. So on the week before, no, during the week of Malvern, Tuesday, that would be the 13th, I think it is, 13th of May.
Yes. From
6 o'clock in the evening, we've got a session with Rhonda Pierce, who is the Schmetz person that does most of the education over in the States. And she does like a live Schmetz snippets pretty much every week, I think, actually. So Rhonda and I have known Rhonda since, I think, 1997, going back a little bit, when she used to work for one of the wholesale companies in the States for Quilters Resource. And Rhonda and Bonnie Benson used to come over every year to do the Stitches show at the NEC. But also we always used to go over to Quilt Market and we'd see Rhonda and we'd almost always either meet her for dinner or see her in a restaurant somewhere. It was always a running joke. But anyway, Rhonda's an absolutely superb demonstrator and can educate people on Schmetz needles. So we've engaged her to do this Zoom session with us on the 13th of May. It'll be really interesting. Learn more about, you might not know much about needles, but I've always found that there's always so much more that you can learn about needles and thread. Particularly that pairing, because when we choose our thread, we then need to choose our needles. And the more you know about the needles and the differences, the easier it will become for you to get really good results from your stitching. So we're talking now about domestic sewing machines, but we've also got them for the overlockers as well. I'll just run through some of the ones that we've got in stock, and you can sign up for Rhonda's session online now. It's on our website. I'll put a link afterwards.
Yeah, I think it's worth saying that Rhonda's probably the global expert on Schmetz needles.
Yeah, she definitely is. And the lovely thing, I mean, the nice thing is, I mean, obviously we focus a lot here on patchwork and quilting, and our sewing machines reflect that to a certain extent, although we've got the overlockers too. But actually, Rhonda's got great experience on the dressmaking. She's a fantastic seamstress. And she's been in the business for such a long time and knows loads and loads of people who sew with these incredible fabrics in the States. And so she has accumulated a huge amount of knowledge. There'll be a 60-minute session on Zoom, followed by Q&A of about 30 minutes. So it'll be well worth doing. It's a very minimal charge to sign up, and we'll give you some great offers. If you sign up for that Zoom session, we're going to give you some discounts and special offers on packs of needles that are kind of like a bundle for patchwork and quilting and also for embroidery. So it's well worth signing up. Minimal cost, £5, bargain, absolute bargain, and you'll learn tons.
So Helen.
Yes. Helen would be good. Yes.
Says that it's the evening before her wedding. We caught the talk with Rhonda. So will it be recorded so she can catch up later?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Sign up for it. If you can't make it live, still sign up for it. We'll have it on catch up and we'll put a post on our YouTube. No problem.
And Linda Jackson's going to be at Malvern too, so look forward to seeing you there, Linda.
Excellent. Excellent. Linda, fantastic. Look forward to catching up with you then. Right, so we're going to have a look. I've laid them out here in our thread area. Just move this around so that we can see. So this is, I've got a selection in to begin with, but I mean, we might well expand it. We'll just see how we go. I think we've got most of the ones that are our best sellers. So the ones that will be the best sellers, the most, useful ones to particularly our customer audience. So I've started over here with the universal needles, and universal needles will be the ones that you use for most of your piecing. Just got to find my little booklet.
So the first thing that is noticeable here on the video, Liz, is that these needles are colour-coded.
They're colour-coded,
Pete. It
Pete.
might be worth just talking about that first.
Yes, I will talk about that. I've lost my little booklet.
Lost your book. Is that it?
That's it. It's along with my tea, my cup of tea. Yeah, so this is quite funny, actually. Rhonda was telling me that she had suggested to Schmetz in Germany that they colour code their needles. I mean, I don't know whether anybody else remembers, but I seem to remember some of them when I first got a Bernina 1130 back in 1990 or whatever it was, that there were some colour coding on the needles. Great. But it didn't seem to sort of, either they dropped it or whatever. Anyway, Rhonda said to Schmetz, could we have colour coding? Could we have the needle type and the needle size color coded with 2 different color bars. That would be fantastic. Anyway, this went on and on and on. I think Rhonda said something like, as you might say on Zoom, I think it went on for like 10 years. I'm going to say 10 years. So great suggestion from Rhonda. Nothing happened. So she kept bombarding them with emails, and in the end they gave in. It just shows you, if you're determined, where there's a will, there's a way. And it's just been such a much easier way of being able to recognize what kind of needles you've got. Because not all of us have got such poor eyesight as I do, because I can actually read the top of the needle without glasses. But there you go. But not everybody can. But actually, it's the colour coding of the type that's most useful. Universal don't have a colour bar for the type. So I'm going to show you the Universal first. This is a packet of 90s. Quite a useful size. So we've got sizing between, on the Universal, we've got, I think it goes 60 to 130. And we've got a range of those. So the sizing, let me just find the Universal. Yeah, 60 to 130. I mean, we won't do the 130s. We don't need it for the type of stuff we're generally doing. But if anybody wants to get 130s, let us know. So universal needles, generally that's what you're going to be stitching with on your domestic machine. It's very much your multi-purpose needle. So we've got a pack of 100 of the 80s, which is the most common size. And I say 80, that's the sort of the imperial measurement, and that's kind of what a lot of people use. But the metric equivalent is 12, so 12/80. And you'll find those numbers on the packets. So 12/80. Each of these ones that I've got here has got 5 in the packet, but we've also got the 10 pack of mixed. So if you're looking to sort of just get a generic pack, maybe for you or for a friend, maybe it's a little gift. Universal mixed pack is a really handy one to have.
I don't like to contradict you, Liz, of course.
Yeah.
Isn't the 80 the metric sizing and not the 12?
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, well, I got that wrong.
Well, that's how it is on the long arm needles, because the 80 is...
God, I've always called it 80. Because I thought it was
that
the...
0.8 of a millimetre, I believe.
Oh, how funny.
So the size 12 is the imperial measure.
16 is the...
100, which is 1 millimetre thick needle.
Ah, okay. Thank you, Pete. Brilliant. Do you know, it don't...
Not that it matters. I mean, you
no,
either.
but that's a really... Isn't that crazy? I always thought it was the other way around. Size 12 is the imperial. And metric is the 80. Of course it is.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, you're right. He's right. He's right. Well done, Pete.
Times you say that.
Yes, I know. It's very annoying. Yes, so, starting again. Metric is 80, imperial is 12. So I always say metric then. Mm-hmm. I didn't realise that. I thought I was old-fashioned, you see. That's why I was kind of thinking, I didn't realise I was so up to date. Okay.
Yeah, so as I understand it, I mean, I'm not the expert, but as I understand it, that relates to the thickness of the needle. So a size 16 is a 100 metric. So the 100 means it's 1 millimetre.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, maybe.
And an 80 is 0.8 of a millimetre.
I think you're right. Because actually, so this is the other thing. We're going to be sending out the needle ABCs. So those people sign up to Zoom as part of the special offer pack that we've got. There is a needle anatomy in the front of the ABCs booklet. And in there it says, exactly as Pete said, 0.75 millimetre is a size 75. There you go. He's right again. So 80s or 12s, for those people who are in imperial still, are the most common size. And then we tend to go up or down from there. So the smaller the number, the finer the needle. We know that needle sizing is one of those things that can be very confusing because we've got a contrast to hand sewing needles, where the bigger the number, the finer the needle, and sewing thread, the bigger the number, the finer the thread. It's very confusing, isn't it?
Almost as if it's designed to confuse.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we've got the universal, we've got 10s, we've got 5s, we've got 100s, in packs, and we've got universal mixed packs as well. We've also got a universal twin needle, size 280. But for most of our customers who are using domestic machines, the quilting needles,
So these are the red
75s
packs. So the red
and 90s.
stands for quilting, does it?
Let's have a look. I'm going to refer to my booklet rather than guessing. Let's have a look. In the centre of here,
The colour coding.
Colour
helps us with
coding.
Picking as well, which is very helpful.
That's true. The quilting needle is, yeah, it's a green on the top, so that means it's quilting, and it's this one, for example, is a 90. That's the metric sizing. I'm never going to forget that now, am I? Blue, which means it's a 90. So if we have a look at these, just open that up. I think I can take this out. I tried this earlier. Yeah, so the colour coding on the top is...
Let me see if that's visible at all here.
There you go.
Yeah, so there's a colour band at the top of the needle there.
Yeah, so that means it's a quilting needle, it's green, and the size is a 90, which is blue. So much easier. We don't have these on our needles, do we?
No.
We could do with colour coding on those as well. So there's those, the quilting needles. Now, my understanding of the quilting needle, and I haven't even looked at the booklet, but you know, I used to sell these when I was at Cotton Patch, is that it's got a tapered point. So the idea of a quilting needle is that you're trying to pierce multiple layers of fabric. So we're going through seams a lot, so multiple seam layers, and a tapered needle point will pierce that fabric and ensure that you go through those multiple layers. I mean, we all know how difficult it is if you've got something like a spinning wheel, you know, like anything where you've got like 8 points coming into the same point. So it's really important to be able to pierce multiple layers. So if you've got really dense layers, something where you may be doing foundation piecing, you might want to go to a 90, but otherwise you can probably stick with a 75. And that also depends on the thread you're using, of course. So we match the thread to the needle. Ron's going to talk a lot more about this. I'm not going to go into detail about it today. Microtex is the next one I've got here. Microtex is a really popular needle.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Can you tell me any more about that? Because it's
About
a phrase that
Microtex.
I've heard, not being a domestic sewing
Microtex.
machine person.
Yeah, I think I even remember when they started bringing out the Microtex.
So what does it mean then?
Okay, I'm going to read out this because this is actually most relevant really for people who are doing things like fusibles and stuff. So particularly acute slim point for easier entry into extremely fine or densely woven materials. So for extremely straight stitching. Now this is a good point because, you know, one of the reasons on our long arms why we use the sharps pierces through the thread of the fabric, the threads of the fabric. It doesn't get deflected. Ball points that we might use for a jersey are ones where it kind of pushes the fibres aside and then the needle goes through. Whereas for a Microtex, it's really going straight through, no deviation, and it's going to give you the best and straightest stitch. So for extremely straight stitches, top stitching work on edges, including for silk, microfiber fabrics, coated materials, foils, and synthetic leather. So when it first came out, I seem to remember that was one, although there is another one that's like the black, superfine black, which is really good for very fine fabrics as well. It's very good for when you're using perhaps fusibles and things like that. Okay, Microtex we've got in various sizes. So we've got a mixed pack of those, and we've got 60, 70, 60, 70, 80 and 90. Embroidery, top stitching. We've got some beautiful threads that we can use for top stitching. And it's really, really important to have an embroidery needle. And the reason being, you just don't want to get the fraying. The fraying that you get from and chafing that you've got on the needle, if you don't get a big enough eye. So the embroidery needle, it's a light ball point. It's got a very wide needle eye compared to the universal. So it's better for the thicker threads, but it's also the groove. So the groove, when the thread goes down through and into the eye of the needle, that groove is going to match the fabric, the thread size that you've got. So we've got a mixture of those as well. And we've also got the gold embroidery. So gold embroidery is a newer one. So for densely woven materials, it's particularly good. So there's that one, and also top stitch and metallic. Top stitch and metallic are pretty much the same needle, to be honest, and we just got them in different sizes. But the metallic and the top stitch designed to withstand the higher temperatures that you've got of using metallic thread. And the nice thing about this booklet as well is you can look at what needle to use based on what you're stitching. So for example, in here is M, so it's alphabetical at the bottom in this section here at the bottom of the little guide, is metallic sewing and embroidery thread would be you'd use for a metallic needle with gold or the gold embroidery needle. Microfibers, woven fabrics, microtex. So these are, it's all really useful, the A to Z in the back in the bottom of this book. The gold top stitch, then metallics, and then we're on to more the dressmaking ones. So, you know, if you're sewing with something that's got stretch, this would be really difficult if you didn't match your needle to the fabric. So this sort of jersey fabric, we've got jerseys and we've also got stretch, and this sort of fabric, yeah, I mean, this, you might use the microtex on that. And the stretch. So the other one, if you've got things like leather, this isn't proper leather, but if you've got leather then, and you're sewing bags and things, then the leather needles would be really good. And if we're sewing
would you use
denim,
fake leather as well? Or?
Yeah, actually I looked up the fake leather. So it's called synthetic leather in this book. Because I thought, let's have a look and see what it says. This is a good example. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so what am I doing? I'm doing something, a project I've never done before. I'm using synthetic leather. Two different options. If it's hard synthetic, which this isn't, this is quite soft, then I would use the leather needle. Okay. If it's a softer synthetic leather, like this one, you would use a microtex or a leather. Okay. So I wonder if it's got one specifically where it says about fusibles. So plastic, foil, synthetic leather, oilcloth, microtex. Microtex is really good. Faux fur. What about, yeah, I mean, there's loads of things. There's loads of things. This booklet is so useful. Denim. So denim, we've got the denim fabric here, this sort of thing, very, very thick denim. We, you know, demonstrate the machines with this, and we would use the jeans needle for that, matching your thread to your needle. So jeans needle, it's got a medium ball point, and it's got a reinforced blade, which is the bit that goes through the fabric, reduces the risk of needle breakage. There you go. Rhonda knows loads more than I do. She would know what was imperial and what was metric. There you go. Right, so we have got these all on the website. Katie's been busy while we've been away, putting them all up on our website. So if you need needles, if you need Schmetz needles, or if there are any that we're not stocking that you think you'd like that would be useful, let us know in the comments.
So
right.
Helen says that she's used the leather needle on multiple folded fake leather straps, but it's best to use the Teflon foot.
Oh, definitely, yes. The Teflon foot is really good, isn't it? Yes, a Teflon foot, it's basically not going to get stuck like it does if you don't use it. It tends to get really caught up. Yes, one of my neighbours, Lou, she did some oilcloth. I got a Teflon foot, I loaned her for that. She was making a lovely oilcloth jacket for her daughter, and the Teflon foot made all the difference. It's sort of these little bits. I mean, I tried to sew, I was taking up a dress I bought, and I didn't use a stretch fabric needle. What a mistake. It was an absolute nightmare. It just wouldn't stitch it. Just would not work. Unbelievable. So yeah, you can't get away with it sometimes. Right. We are now going to move on to long arm quilting. Long arm quilting, where you don't have a lot of space. It can be a bit of a nightmare, but also I'm just going to give a bit of a demonstration. I'll kind of talk around how you might do custom quilting using a long arm, using a computerized system, okay? So where you want to break your quilt down into sections, and if you don't have enough space to put a full frame out. So here we've got a little foot, little being the right word, because it is not a big frame. We've got the additional, what's called the little buddy. So the little foot comprises this rear rail and this big hoop here. That is the original little foot, but we supply all of our little foot frames now with the little buddy as well, which is this bit at the back. It's got this extra rail here for the take-up rail instead, and for loading your backing fabric onto this rail. Okay, I haven't attached it, I've just got a sample piece on here just to have a play. So the benefit of this is that if you wanted to do a king size quilt, you can pre-baste it, okay, and put it onto here and do up to a king size quilt. But if you wanted to do up to about, Pete, the number is 40 something inches wide.
44.
Oh, it's 44. So 44 inches wide. You could do it using, this is a 44-inch wide fabric. You could do it using, well, that's, you can actually, you'd have your backing fabric wider, wouldn't you? Because it goes out to about here, I think, doesn't it? You can get 2 to 4 inches in total, bigger than this. A finished size quilt, 44 inches wide. You can do it no baste. So this is a 4-rail system, 44 inches wide, or pre-based to do a king size quilt. And the reason I'm mentioning this is that it's clear that not everybody realizes that you can put like 3 different machines will go on this. Actually, some of the older machines will go on it as well. So if you had a second user Simply 16 or a second user Avante, you can actually put it on a little foot frame. And the reason I'm mentioning it is because it takes like 7 foot by 7 foot. How big is a single bed? It's not that much more than that, is it? By the time you've got somebody...
Well, a single bed is 6'6" long, I believe.
Yeah, which is about as long as this.
Yeah, and the absolute minimum space you need for a little foot frame is 6'6" wide, so that's the same length as a single bed.
Yeah.
And you need a minimum of 6 feet of depth, including the area you need to stand in. So that's a tight space, but you can get this in.
We have fitted in those spaces.
In a space as small as that.
Yeah. So when people think about long arms, and they may be talking to their friends, and their friends say, well, you've got a long arm, but that's in your spare room, and you've got a big spare room, and I don't have a big spare room. You can say to them, well, actually, if you've got a single bed in that room, and it's got 6 foot depth, you can get a little foot in. No problem. Not only that, but there's a video on YouTube where I take it apart in about 20 minutes. So it will go down into small sections, not that difficult, and those sections can be stored perhaps in a garage or something. So this is a great option for those people who want to put a long arm in a smaller space. You don't have to go to the sit downs if you don't want to. So why would we do that? How would we do that? Say we wanted to do a king size quilt. I might have basted the whole thing. I still need to baste a king size quilt. But you could do a king size quilt in sections and join the sections, because you can do 44 inches wide at a time. You could do 3 of those and have a king size quilt. So you could do it all on here, depending on you thinking through, how am I going to quilt it? Right. So we can custom quilt that. Let's imagine that we want to do blocks on our quilt. So here's my quilt, and I'm going to basically set up an area. So I'm going to go to the area tab on my Pro Stitcher, and I'm going to click 2 corner and 2 corner. So this is my block. Actually, it's a little slack. And I'm just going to clear that design. I don't want to do that one. Close selected, there we go. And I'm going to set up my quilt area. Quilt area, or frame space on this one, is all the way over to the left-hand side, as far as it'll go, and all the way over to the right-hand side, as far as it'll stitch in this direction, and then back a little bit. Frame space. So that frame space shows me on my screen how much area I can actually quilt in. And then I set up the area that I'm going to quilt within that. So I don't know whether it's possible to see on the screen, Pete. And it's a little bit...
It's quite bright today, isn't it?
It is quite bright.
Oh no, it's a bit hard to see.
Yeah.
I can just about see it.
Okay, so I've got my pink box, which is my area, and I'm going to pick a design from the design library and load it so that I can stitch it out. So let's have a look. There's a really cute little... I like this one. Okay, so I'm going to stitch that into there. So I'm going to modify the design. I'm going to skew it and skew it to fit. And it basically just pops itself into that area. And then I'm going to baseline that. And then I'm going to go Pro Stitcher and run. It's doing 72% speed, 11 stitches an inch. And then we're going to move it over to here. It's going to move itself. I'm going to pull up the bobbin thread. And this is how I'd custom quilt. A little bit closer, there we go. It moves back to the start position and then it'll start stitching this lovely bright yellow, what's it called, lemon or something? It does the finishing stitches. Unlocks the motors. Yeah, just move it away.
Machine lights down. Looks like it's easier to see than the
design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lights on the machine are very bright, so it shows some glare. There we are. Great. Perfectly in your block. Even if your block isn't quite square.
Even if your block isn't quite square, you can do a multi-point.
Absolutely.
So if you've got any blocks that need to be custom quilted because they are imperfect, I can go and do a multi-point of my, I'm just going to close that. So over here, I'm going to clear my space and then I can redo it and modify it to a multi-point. And maybe I've got more of a skewy block. There we go. See where we are. Multi-point, slightly skewy. I don't know, I think I need a bit more piecing practice based on how skewy this is.
Yes, if we have a look at the area that this is defined here, that would be a very poor piece of piecing.
Very poor piece.
So in the pink area, there we are. But it doesn't matter because whatever design you choose will just pop into that space.
Yep.
Here we go.
So this is how I could just do this block and then I can do the next block and then I could do the next block, or I could do random designs all over my quilt. So custom quilting with a Pro Stitcher, no artistic skills required, and it enables me to quilt up to king size quilt. Consider doing it in 3 sections and you don't even have to baste it, and you've only needed to use 7 foot by 6 foot of your smallest room in the house. There you go. That is my why you don't need a huge amount of space to get a long arm. How was that? I hope that's helped, because we know that there are people who don't realize that they could actually get a long arm in. We've got some great options on second user Moxies. We've got some great options on, and some of those Moxies can go with the frame of your choice, right? We've got a Simply 16, I think. Two Simply 16s.
We've got lots of preloved machines. There are some more Avantes coming up for sale very soon as well.
Exactly.
In different parts of the country, and some of them will be very good value. So
yeah,
lots of options.
Keep looking at our Preloved Long Arms website. We do promote it and put it out on our email newsletter on a regular basis and I know there's lots of people looking at it. Just a question of then getting in touch with us. We'll put you in touch with the owner and you can go along, have a demonstration, and hopefully you come away with a long arm.
And there's an Amara in Suffolk as well. Which,
there is.
The Amaras preloved sell like hotcakes.
They do.
Usually.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's it from me for today, unless Pete's got any other things. I've got one other thing to mention.
No, I've got a busy week next week. I shall be just let you know the sort of services that we provide. I'm going to deinstall the customer's machine and frame and relocate it in their new home, and then I'm travelling on from there up to Troon in Scotland, where I'm installing exactly this setup, actually, a Moxie XL with Pro Stitcher Lite, but on a loft frame.
Yes.
And then I shall be going on to do another reinstallation of the machine and servicing, and so I'm away up in the north of England, Scotland for the whole week.
Yeah, and I'm down in the southeast. I will be installing and training on an Amara ST and then doing a service, saying hi to Georgie. And on the way back, I'm saying hi to a customer and popping in and doing some little adjustments to her machine, I think, and servicing and stuff like that. So that's just 2 days. That's just 2 days of my week. That's if we can walk, Pete, still. That's on the assumption that after a 100-kilometre bike ride, I'm not going to, break a leg. That's all I'm going to say. So the final thing I've got to say, aside from the fact that we're going to be seeing a few customers and we look forward to seeing you if you're one of those people next week, is that we've adjusted the classes at Festival of Quilts. So we've now got Saturday morning, 11:30 till 1, is a 1.5 hour session on Pro Stitcher Lite or Pro Stitcher Premium. If you are thinking about a long arm, or if you've already got a long arm and you're thinking about computerized, come along and have a session. It will be with Leslie Main, who for 25 years, I think, she had a quilt shop in the States, and she now works for Handy Quilter, demonstrating at shows. She's incredibly knowledgeable about Pro Stitcher, and she will be doing that class on Pro Stitcher Premium, Pro Stitcher Lite. So if you're thinking about those, then there's space on that at the moment, but I'm sure it will fill fast. So please do come along if you can. Book your place now, and it would be lovely to see you and get the benefit of some really excellent education from our Handy Quilter educators, including Linda, who will be doing the long arm clinics. So for those of you who've already got a machine, are the things that you're just not 100% about, rather than getting sort of buffeted by other customers on the main stand, we're providing these machines to give you that one-on-one opportunity in the classroom, just you and an educator on the machines on those afternoons during Festival of Quilts. We hope that you're able to take that up, because we feel like it's a great opportunity to do so. But please, make the most of that opportunity. And we've also got Joe Avery will be doing, if anybody's interested in a long arm, Joe Avery will be doing a talk Friday morning, the first talk in the lecture theatre. I think it's at 11. And she will be doing a demonstration of how she does her long arm quilting using her Moxie XL. Joe does a fantastic presentation, and those of you who were on our Zoom presentation or came to the showroom, you will have already seen that. Worth seeing again. But Joe, because Joe is just, I love her quilts. Talk about upbeat, inspiring. It's exactly what we all need at the moment, is get some beautiful colours in front of you, start playing with colour, and be inspired by Joe. She's got a quilt retreat this weekend, in fact, and I'm going to hopefully take part. If I've got any time on Sunday, I might be confined to bed, who knows? I might not be able to walk at all. But yeah, Joe is going to be doing that at Festival of Quilts, and it's well worth popping along and seeing Joe and get some inspo at the same time. That's it. That's everything from us. So we will catch up with you next week. I am here. Pete is in Scotland, but I will be here, and I will be doing a demonstration of something. And if you have any ideas or things that you feel like I haven't covered today that you would love covered, just drop us an email. It would be great to hear from you, and we look forward to seeing you at perhaps the Malvern Quilt Show. And those of you coming to the foundation, and the places left on the feathers and thread play on Wednesday week, Wednesday week. It's going to be a fun day. I'm going to do the, I've got the fabric over there, but yeah, the feathers. Yeah, feathers fabric.
Oh, so, using the pre-printed fabric.
Pre-printed fabric. It's just half a day on that and then half a day on thread play. So it'll be a fun day because we'll just be playing. That's all we'll be doing, just playing. You'll get lots more experience of your long arm and hopefully some inspiration as well. All right, take care. Happy quilting, everybody. Catch up with you soon. Enjoy the sunshine.